I'm interested in general transformation, coaching people and organizations through transformation. And and when I've been researching on coaching and on transformation and the intersection of that, um, I have been kind of putting together some, maybe you can call them mental models, but here they are described, and I'm introducing them to you today. Um, and when and in my opinion, we need to get to a coaching-based leadership style when we talk about organizations. And every human being, also at a human level, needs to become a leader, at least in their own life. Take leadership. This is incredibly important because when we take on leadership in our own life, in our business, we decide to drive things forward. We decide to upskill ourselves. We decide to invest some time, build partnerships, find collaborators, learn this, do that, etc. So we are more proactive, etc. So coaching-based leadership styles are incredibly important, I believe, for the future of humanity, but certainly also for the future of business, for the future of education, and whatever else have we. And when I look at all the different coaching models and also uh, transformation of how businesses operate and all that, I think at the highest level, our coaching framework should have these three legs that you see here. The first one is about always creating and improving our mindset, creating a new mindset. This is the top one. I'll get back to that in a moment. So a new mindset is critically important. Uh, and then the second leg is powerful questioning. Um, and this is the main part of today's session. Uh, how do we ask the most relevant, powerful questions as coaches or as somebody that at least applies some coaching techniques in our conversations? So powerful questioning is the second leg, and the third leg is active listening. We really need to be actively listening. So, and just before I open these boxes and discuss this in more detail, why is it that I think at least that asking powerful questions and listening actively, why is that so important? Why is that such a big deal? It's because each of us know close to nothing if we look at the total sum of knowledge and what needs to be known now and in the future. We need each other's knowledge. We need that collaboration, co-learning, co-creation. Never work alone, right?
Right.
So let's not assume that we know answers. We don't know answers. We have some ideas, maybe at best, or we just heard an answer to a question, and maybe we think that's not also the right answer when you ask the question, also even in your context. But maybe it's not. We just make an assumption. We know very little. This is why coming in as a consultant, as an AI expert, as we talked about, may be a really bad idea if we really don't know what we're talking about. But we can get really, really good at asking good questions, powerful questions, and listen actively. This is always helpful. And the chances are pretty big that the people we ask questions know things better than we do, or they know who knows better than we do. So we can have a conversation with those people. This is how we build new knowledge. This is how we can move things forward with the best possible knowledge and insight that we have access to, at least. So asking questions and listening actively is critically important for anybody, not just for us, but for anybody. So this is why I think these are the three legs that our coaching should be walking on always.
Mhm.
Now, within each of these, there's a lot to unfold. And and we're not going into all of it today for sure, but there's plenty here to explore as a topic, as a theme in the weeks and months to come. Um, but I wanna uh, begin and inviting you to look into some of this between now and next week and the week after. So you can come back here as often as you want and research more, try things out. Gradually, we'll be um, implementing this into our style of work, our way of working, our way of having conversations with clients and with each other. So rest assured that you will see this again, even if you don't have time to research on this until next time. But I do um, invite you to first, um, I'll share, I'm sharing my screen here. There's the new mindset first. And the way, by the way, to open this on your own computer is to just, let me see here. If you click, just simply click on this chart here that says characteristics of abundance mindset. There's a little pop-up mirror menu, and there's one icon on the left that says source. It's a box with an arrow pointing up. If you click that, you open this up in a browser on your own computer. And I recommend that you do that whenever you want to explore this. Let me just quickly do that and take you with me into that browser window. We're not going through this content now, but I just want to make you see what we have here. So here, and again, this is based on my research and what I think is a meaningful way to describe the characteristics of abundance mindset, right? We want to aim for new mindsets for ourselves, for our clients, for each other. So what are the characteristics of an abundance mindset? Lars, what do you mean when you say that? This is the definition, I think, that describes what an abundance mindset is. And when we have a definition in place, we can then look at the techniques and tools to develop a more abundance mindset. But here are the characteristics. They are collaboration, flexibility, innovation, positive attitude, self-motivation, growth mindset, and empathy. And it's easy to say, and it's hard to consistently adopt this for many, right? Um, One of the processes that we know brings most people closer to an abundance mindset is the EXO sprint, right? We know it's transformative of the mindset of the people that are open to this transformation, at least. It's not everybody, but many are, and they will definitely, we see them developing these characteristics significantly during a 10-week sprint. They collaborate because we ask them to, and then they realize, wow, we accomplished more in shorter time, better results by collaborating. Um, Positive attitude. The coach plays an important role, and when people show up being cranky and they had a shitty day, let's have a quick conversation about that, right? What was it that, made your day take such a bad turn? And then maybe we can help the client park that mood, or maybe we can find a way to resolve this and move forward. So now the client is coachable again instead of being stressed um, or having to deal with a bad problem in the business. So they don't have time to work with you really. They don't have the mindset to work with you. So working on the attitude and all that is really important. Self-motivation. People are not self-motivated, forget about it, right? Because you want to empower team to work autonomously in our sprints and in any other um, walk of life. And if people are not self-motivated, they will just be sitting around waiting for you to give them the next instructions. Those are not the people that will thrive and drive your business forward. So this is really important. How do you transform the people that are not self-motivated into people that are super motivated and driving things for the right reasons on their own, right? Um, Etc. Growth mindset, Carol Dweck's work, and empathy. So these are the characteristics, and there's a set of tools as well. If you click the button, here are tools to build a culture of trust, deliver honest feedback, show empathy, be purpose-driven. Obviously, it involves the MTP. Foster open communication and delegate responsibilities. So these are tools and techniques that can help you uh, when you work with clients or with your own team or with us to grow this mindset of abundance. I'm not going deeper into any of this today. I just want to introduce you to this content, and we can definitely open this toolbox some other day and explore any of this if you want and if you find that helpful. But instead, I want to move into powerful questioning. And let me just open the Miro board again so we can have a look at that. And as a matter of fact, this was one of the top voted topics that you guys voted on some weeks ago. Coaching for effective and transformation leadership, active listening, powerful questioning techniques, goal setting, and action planning. And that's what we are starting today with this Miro board and with this content and with these frameworks. So we have we have two legs left here, and I really want to start with what I consider the last one, active listening, and I'll keep that a bit short. But this is the glue that obviously binds everything together, and it's also um, fairly easy to evaluate. Did Lars practice active listening in this session, right? And you can tell me. And I can also tell each of you if you actively listened, at least if we look at this checklist. I don't think we need to do that at all in this session. I'm just saying this is a super, super helpful tool for conversations because we often, and I'm also guilty, and most people are guilty at some point at not listening or not actively listening. They show up, they participate in meetings, but they don't actively listen. And the moment we realize that, we need to take action on that. We need to handle that. Right? Otherwise, we might all waste our time, or even worse, it might be counterproductive, or it might actually be damaging to the collaboration or to progress whatever else is happening in the room. So the steps for active listening are these 5 steps here. Pay attention, show that you're listening, provide feedback, defer judgment, and respond appropriately. And I'm not going deeper into that today, but this is, I think we all do a fairly good job in our group at all of these things. So, but it is, as a coach of others, this is often needed. It's very common as to meet bad habits in meeting, right? People are bringing very bad habits into meetings very often, especially in corporate environments where you don't have the same close relations to your colleagues as you may have in a startup. So you want to show that you're the alpha male and you're the senior and whatever, the expert, right? We have all met these personalities, and some don't actually listen to their colleagues or to anybody else for that matter. It's really important as a coach to stop that behavior. And there are plenty of ways we can do that. So that's a topic of in its own rights for another day. But always pay attention when you see that people are not actively listening. You may even need to stop whatever you're doing, whatever conversation, and just bring everybody to the same page, which is the importance of everybody actively listening. And when everybody is correcting whatever behavior or bad habits they just showed, now we can move on. So that's as deep as I think we should go today on actively listening, but it's more like the glue that binds it all together. Now, the topic that we voted on is the powerful questioning. What are the questions that can help us to help the client realize their own goals, set goals, check up on the realities that they are facing, for good and for bad, to consider their options, also especially options they hadn't thought of, and also what is it you are going to do next? What are you committed to do next? Having these conversations. And my favorite framework, and you know that I've talked often about this, and I think some of you have I remember Fernando, but I think also Dr. Thomas, you have been through this exercise for yourself, considering your own goals, assessing the realities. For example, what are you currently doing that takes you towards your goals, right? And also what's currently stopping you from achieving your goals. So these are a few questions about what are the realities. And then the options, what else could you do that could bring you closer? Who can help you with these things, etc. And then the will. As a coach, this is incredibly important because people can talk about goals, they can talk about realities and options, but if they don't take action after the meeting, it's pointless, right? And some may expect an outcome of this. Some may expect progress. If this is in a business and it's your client, and they agree on the goals and what needs to happen next, and nobody takes action, they will be in trouble. Then the conversation next time is, why didn't we take action? Why didn't we make any progress? What happened? That's a bad situation. But there are great questions we can ask to find out, are people really committed to these goals to make this progress. And if they're not, let's stop kidding ourselves, right? And have a conversation about, you're not going to do this, are you? Right? You know, is there anything else that would be better to do, right? One corporate example, and I see it often, somebody got an objective from the manager. We need this done by the end of this quarter or the end of this week. And I'm like, oh shit, and I hate this, but I need to do it because I was told by my manager. People have very little motivation, and if they can cut corners, they will. If they can avoid doing it, they will, etc. So, so if you as a coach know that there's a big risk of this not happening, even the order has been given by the manager, it's probably important to improve the chances of success of our team that we deal with this through a coaching intervention, that we have a conversation about this. And some may say, yeah, I got the instruction, but it would be so much faster and better and cheaper for everybody if we did it in this other way. The thing is, nobody listened, right? So nobody took that colleague seriously. Uh, but if we actually listened actively and understood that other idea, that would make a motivating objective for that employee, for that person. And now things get done because this person is now self-motivated and seems to be the right goal to work towards. It might be better for everybody. We just need to check up on realities and what are the options. And now we set a new goal. If everybody's on board, now we have a much better chance of achieving these results. And so this is a framework that is very effective if you do it in an EXO sprint, because in a sprint, people have to do their other day job at the same time. They have still the same responsibilities, big time pressure, and now you're asking them to do their weekly assignments as part of the sprint on top of that. It's not helping them, they feel, for a while. So they might hesitate to do it, and you might be put at the low end of the priority list, etc., etc. Sprint work gets backgrounded by some, not by all. So if you're transforming an organization in a sprint, it's really important to know who are motivated to do this, who's committed to do this, and who's not, or not yet, right? And then we can work on those that are not yet committed or motivated. Find out what could make you feel motivated about this. What would this sprint mean to you? If you could create a whole new business initiative that was funded by your company, for example, if that's something that we think motivates that person, some get a whole new and more exciting career in the same company after a sprint. Some find out what they really wanted to do in life and they quit their horrible day job. We see that as well. And actually, everybody is happy when that happens. Also, the company wants to see their people fulfilled and doing great things. Um, so it's a win-win, right? And it's only the coaching that made the difference. So we can make a big difference by asking the right questions and carrying through and really helping people all the way through these 4 steps. There are many questions that can be asked in each of these 4 stages. I'll leave it to each of you for the coming weeks to have a look at this and start to build your own list of questions. Next time you have a conversation with somebody about what they want to accomplish, what they want to achieve, think about this framework and try it out. What are the questions you want to ask to find out what they want to accomplish, what they need to accomplish. What are their goals? What questions do you want to ask to find out? And then when you ask, what are the realities? What can help you to accomplish that, or what is going to stop you? What are the questions you want to ask to find out about that? That's for you to try out on your own in your coming conversations, and same with the other 4 sections here. So this is the Grow Coaching Framework, and you have heard it before for sure. It normally starts on step 1, which are obviously the goals. And then you move to step 2, realities, step 3, options, and step 4, will. Then you start over again, but you can also go backwards. It's fine. And you actually are recommended to do that if you feel today our conversation needs to focus on realities. And that is often the case. So maybe in session 1, maybe also session 2, we establish the goals. What are the goals? Company goals, your own goals. Is there any alignment? Hopefully there is. And then next time we meet, we may not need to talk about goals anymore, right? Unless they have changed. So you could start a conversation again saying, did any of the goals that we talked about last week, did any of those goals change since last week? No, still same goals. Cool. Then you move to phase 2, the realities. Let's talk about the realities. Once you feel that you have covered and revealed and you fully understand the realities, then you can move to step number 3, the options. What are the alternative things you could choose to do? Those kind of questions. If you feel that, or you talk about some interesting alternative ways forward, and the person starts to say, your coachee starts to say, it's never going to work. And if you don't know from the reality conversation why that is, you have not uncovered all the realities. You should take a step back now to the realities and ask questions about, why is that? What is stopping you from doing that alternative path, right? And there can be plenty of things stopping that person. And that's the conversation you want to be having. Because that it might be just some false beliefs, and actually it may be a great alternative route forward. So you go back and forth between these 4 stages as you need in your conversation until you get to stage 4 and see there's a commitment here. This person has a will, and I have a fire alarm going off, but it's usually a fake alarm.
Mhm. Make
My
sure
kid.
it is a fake.
Yeah, I know my son has now stopped, so it's all good. It's all good. I think my son was cooking late dinner for himself earlier. I think that's maybe the explanation. So the smoke detector went off.
Mm.
So this was the Grow framework, and but there are other coaching frameworks as well, and I invite you to have a look at those in the weeks to come, because they also contain uh, interesting processes, interesting frameworks, but often also very interesting questions that you can apply right away. And I have already kind of unboxed a coaching framework called TOTE, TOTE. It stands for Test, Operate, Test, and Exit. And I've kind of put some descriptions on the Miro board here. I'm not going into it now. You can read on your own. But it's got 4 stages as well. Test, operate, test, and exit. It's a structured approach to problem solving and achieving goals. And if you look at the orange post-it notes over here on the grow model, all these orange post-it notes, they are actually toad-related questions that I've added into the grow model to see you can ask questions from other frameworks even when you're using the grow coaching model. Not a problem. And you see a lot of examples here. For example, from the test phase of the TOAD framework, how close are you to achieving your goal based on the metrics you defined earlier? It's a question assuming that you have talked about metrics and goals. So there's a lot of questions here that I've added in the relevant grow category. And now you're invited to also write your own questions, and you can just pick a post-it note in each category if you like, and write other questions that you think this would be a relevant question to ask at this stage in a conversation. So you're absolutely welcome to add questions on the Miro board. And but also, last but not least, make a copy of this board and use it for client conversations, right? Prepare a board with questions for a particular client. So you have all the questions prepared. You should never be, carving this in stone, because you want to have a conversation that can move in more interesting directions, change topic, all of that. That's all good. Don't ever be scripted in your conversations, but it's great to have some prepared questions ready to ask your client. And you're welcome to make copies of this Miro board, and you can make as many as you want, one for each client conversation if you want. And yeah, the last thing about the fact that I put this into its own Miro board is that I want to, turn all of our conversations into useful tools and templates. So this is a clean way to give you guys a template that doesn't have all the other stuff that we work on and talk about somewhere on the Miro board. But here's one clean Miro board just for the coaching frameworks, right? And I'm going to do the same for all the other topics that we'll cover on this program. So at the end of the year, you will have a large toolbox with clean template that you can just make a copy and apply in your work whenever it's relevant for you, right? So that's the point, and that's the introduction to this three-legged coaching approach. And I hope you find it helpful and useful. Feel free to research it during the week and come back and challenge it and enrich it, enhance it, whatever you feel like, and try to apply this in your conversations. Questions? Reflections?
Tons of information.
Yeah, I know.
Yes, good. A lot of good information.
It's a lot, I know. It also took me 8 years to put it together. So...
I can
Oh,
imagine.
see you in 2030.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, but I hope it's easier to apply than to write. And it's really not my work, right? I'm just standing on the shoulder of amazing giants like we all do. So these are different, different content and approaches and stuff from books and from articles and videos and conversation, all of that.
Oh, it's great information. Oh, man. Really.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Sounds very challenging.
Take it in small steps. Try to,
Yeah.
just ask a few coaching questions in a conversation. That's a good place to begin.
I guess the new mindset, that's very interesting just to start from there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also to go to the link that you go after this.
Yeah.
And to, I guess the challenge here is to get your coachees to really understand and adopt this abundance mindset.
Yeah.
And all these, and that's, I guess it's what we always say, mindset is first.
Yeah.
And
Mindset is first. Yeah.
And I like what you put here, the self-motivation.
Yeah.
I believe a lot of this. We were speaking this in a group of executives just 2 or 3 days ago.
Yeah.
That we have to push the people to make things happen.
Yeah.
But if they are self-motivated,
that's a lot easier.
They will pull you instead of you pushing.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
So how to really achieve this? I guess that's
yeah. I have a few things I just want to point out here. First of all, this is your toolbox. It's not their toolbox. So that means this is a way for you to guide the work. You can check, first of all, is there a positive attitude? Are people self-motivated? Is there growth mindset? Is there empathy? Is there collaboration, etc.? If you're missing some of these, then open up the toolbox and see what are the tools that can improve collaboration, for example. And the last thing you want to do is probably tell people, especially if there is a new relation, tell people that you don't have a growth mindset, right? Yeah, it's not a fantastic icebreaker, right? It may be true, but people don't subscribe to that viewpoint on day one at least, right? So it's your toolbox. It's not up to you to sell this toolbox to them. It's up to you to lead the transformation in small steps. So you will take people in small steps over a period of time. It can take time. It can even take a long time. But that's what we do in the 10-week sprint. We can accomplish a lot of this positive transformation, but it happens in daily increments, small increments every day, small improvements, a little collaboration every day, a little more tomorrow. Then people start to collaborate, not by telling them to collaborate, but by maybe nudging them or maybe pushing them to do it. If they don't want it, maybe you need the CEO to come into the room and say, you guys need to collaborate. Okay, if that's what it takes, then do that, right? But when people see the results of collaboration versus not collaborating, they realize, wow, this actually works. Why didn't we do that before? Now they become self-motivated to collaborate, or at least more than before. So now you have made some progress. Now you need to make a little bit more. Maybe you need other tools, more exercises to do that. It's never the same tools that continue to work. You need more tools in the toolbox. but you're the one who choose what are we working on transforming here. You rarely should really tell people in the beginning, at least. But when you do a reflective exercise with your team, you can ask them what worked, what didn't work in our session. Did we collaborate? Would it help you if we collaborated? When people start to talk about it, like, we need to collaborate, guys, and I've heard this often in sprints, then, oh yeah, we need to collaborate. Let's collaborate. Okay, so now they made a decision to collaborate. And now you have made great progress. And when you hear that happening, right? So you can have these reflective feedback exercises to help the team self-identify what's not working here and what is working. And then they decide what they want to fix and improve. This is by far the best way to make progress in small steps, not by giving them the handbook and not by telling them that they don't have a growth mindset. And I heard in the STS demo the other day, and I was asking a question about what the user profile that ideally should be using the STS tool. Because if you go into a big organization with an STS AI tool, there could be hundreds of different profiles in that company. And some of them may have the skills and the interest to use the tool, and some don't care and shouldn't use it at all, probably. So who is the right person to use this tool? And unfortunately, the team behind the STS, I think, is not clear about who the user is. But there was one good answer, though, that it's not really for the user, it's for the consultant to use the STS tool, and they facilitate the conversation. I was happy with that answer.
Yes, I think that's the model that they are promoting.
And it's a good model because now you don't need to rely on people being self-motivated as much for tools and AI and any of that. Now you lead the conversation, you use the tool as a consultant. So it's really important to take on the right role and prioritize your role in these collaborative sessions. Sometimes you need to be the coach. Sometimes you can see the team is doing fine. Maybe I should just leave them to it, or maybe play another role a little bit, maybe connect them to some people they need to for the next steps or whatever it is. Yeah. So there's always a lot to be learned, obviously, about coaching, but it's incredibly important in the future where everything gets more complex. Organizations need to accomplish more and faster. We need new skill sets and mindsets. That's a coaching job. So good luck to us. It's a great opportunity.
Okay, thank you.
Great session.
Thank you. I'm glad you liked it, and I'll see you again in a week.
See you next week.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Okay. Bye-bye.
See you. Have a nice week.
Same to you. Cheers.
Cheers.
Bye.